Listen, I'm drinking non-alcoholic Heineken.
0.0,
Just so everyone
baby.
knows, because I know I publicly said I'm not drinking, and I'm still not drinking.
0.0, baby.
Bish to the bosh, the bish to bosh, movie.
I like it.
Movie.
Welcome to MOVIED, everybody. We had two themes today. One was killer, and the other one was super killer. And I'll let you decide which one. Was Craig's immediate improv one the killer one, or was our usual theme done for us by Sheldon Ray Bird the killerist? I don't know. Maybe weigh in on the comments. If you go to the Anchor thing, I'll put up a poll and you say which one was better this week.
Here, I'll do it again just in case. Bish to the bosh, the bish to bosh, movie.
Okay, welcome to MOVIED, everybody. I am Jake Jarvie. I watch movies, and I'm joined as always by my friend Craig Benzine. He also watches.
Oh, you're just gonna assume that I watch movies, Jake?
Oh, I didn't mean to.
I was gonna say my name is Craig, and I quit movies. I quit 'em.
Oh, wow. Well, thanks for joining us this week, guys, and we will see you another time.
Never again.
No. Just like last month, welcome to another MOVIED Monthly, where we recap our Februaries and let you know what was worth checking out. And it's basically kind of a peek at the zeitgeist through the eyes of two middle-aged men.
Really boring dudes.
Yeah. Get those ears ready for all these lukewarm takes.
Yeah.
Would you like to start taking me through your February, Craig? February 2022?
All right, Jake, we're going on a journey. We're going on a February journey. Some of these are like half watched because I watched
No.
Yes. Because I watched them while working out. I watched the whole thing. I just didn't I was working out while I was doing it. So
that kind of half watch. Oh, that's totally fine. Yeah, no.
But actually, now that I think about it, two of them were working out and didn't watch the whole thing, but I had already seen them.
Okay, fair game.
Okay. So, MIB International.
Oh.
Yeah.
The
Men
third
in Black.
of the Men in Black series.
No, fourth.
Fourth. Okay, the fourth.
Well, like the renew of it. It's
the requel.
Yeah, the requel. I watched that while working out. I had not seen that before.
So that's Chris. It's one of the Chris's. It's
Hemsworth.
Chris Hemsworth and
you have
Tessa
any idea
Thompson.
how much of Hemsworth these days?
So how was it? Did you like it?
It was all right. I was led to believe it was terrible.
Well, but that's like if you check the internet, everything is terrible.
Yeah, but sometimes it's convincing.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's not. Based on the trailer, I was not that excited about watching it, but decided, well, I'm working out, and I have to watch something now, and I don't have time to think about it. And so I picked that, and it was all right. It was all right. There's a twist, which I saw a billion miles away. A trillion miles away.
Wait, let me guess. They were all aliens.
No, but some were. Yes.
Okay.
But actually, that isn't the twist.
All right.
It was just kind of like there. It was like exactly what you'd expect. But it was fine. It was fine.
Okay.
Like another more in that kind of world.
Did you have some laughs?
Not really.
Oh.
It wasn't as funny. I think it's a different team too, different director, different people involved.
Sure. I don't think Barry Sonnenfeld is like doing a ton anymore.
Well, yes, he did a series of Unfortunate Events show.
Oh, the show? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
And there's another show, I think, recently that I cannot think of right now that he is involved in.
Sure.
Anywho, I just listened to an interview with him on Smartless, the podcast Smartless. Do you know that podcast?
Yeah, that podcast is hilarious.
I mean, yeah. And his interview is fascinating.
Okay.
He shot all the early Coen Brothers stuff.
Yeah.
And he sounds like he's really hard to work with, like by his own admission, basically, because he's very particular, and he'll just make you do it exactly, like he'll plan it out specifically, and he'll make you follow specifically because he's planning all these camera moves, and stuff. And he doesn't pan, like he hates panning. He thinks that's you have to move the camera. And they asked him what he thought of Coen Brothers after they stopped work. They started doing their own camera stuff a little more. And he's like,
too much panning.
He basically said he went to the movie Gangs of New York with Joel Coen.
Yeah.
And which is a Scorsese movie, and they watched that, and afterwards Joel Cohen was like, "Why wasn't that good?" And he said, "Panning, too much panning."
So that review was basically a pan.
Oh dear. Anyway, Men in Black International. Barry Sonnenfeld. Why we're talking about him is because he did the first. I don't know if the first three. I think he did the first three, all three Men in Blacks. But the new ones, I don't think he did. But it was pretty good.
All right,
Moving
solid.
on.
Well, I'm going to then counter Men in Black 3, the international team, or whatever the subtitle was, with diving into what February's... Four. Sorry, guys. Yeah. I'm so sorry. Jeez. With what February's all about, Craig. Love. Valentine's Day, all right? So every February, Liza and I tend to try to kind of line up some rom-coms and knock them down.
Sure.
Just to kind of stay in the February mode. Even though, like, it ends at the 14th, we try to kind of continue on throughout the month. And our big kind of themed one was an accident this time. One night, Eliza was like, "I'd like to watch Pretty Woman." I hadn't seen it since VHS. I hadn't seen,
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
So, I saw it way back when on one of those sick days home from school with access to the rated R movies,
Yeah.
And I was like, I loved it. I loved Pretty Woman back then. Rewatching it, guess what, Craig? Still great. It's still great.
You still love it.
Yeah, it's fantastic. Pretty Woman's a great movie. And then so at that point we were like, okay, well, she was like, Pretty Woman made me feel like watching My Fair Lady. And I was like, okay, well, I have never seen that, so let's watch My Fair Lady. And so we just kind of did a quick Pygmalion trilogy. We did Pretty Woman, we did My Fair Lady, and then we did She's All That. And
okay. Pygmalion trilogy? Yeah.
Yeah, like the turn the ugly duckling into a beautiful swan kind of deal.
Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah.
You know? And so for My Fair Lady, what I have to say is I remember that also being, speaking of VHS, a 2-taper, And watching it on streaming, it had an intermission right there in the, just past the middle, like 2/3 of the way through, I would say. Yeah. And I would say it's the opposite of a Titanic in this way. When it comes to My Fair Lady, I'd only watch the first VHS. Everything past the intermission is annoying. The stuff in the first half is great. Audrey Hepburn is charming as all get out. She has a hilarious song about asking for Henry Higgins' head on a plate, all that stuff is great. The guy playing Henry Higgins, I don't know what the guy was like, Rex Harrison, but Henry Higgins is a fucking douche. He is just a terrible character. I hate him so much. Yeah. But I think that's the point. So that worked out. Just watch the first VHS, hit the intermission, call it a day. It's like on Titanic. I would only ever put in the second VHS and watch the ship go down. Because it takes
a while.
All the class romance stuff in the beginning is fine, but all the dialogue is horrible. It's just so dispiriting to listen to.
I like how you still think in terms of VHS. That's good.
Oh, man. I told you right in the opening, we're old, Craig. We're old.
I keep forgetting. But,
yeah. Because you don't feel old until you get out of bed in the morning. So, and then
exist. Yeah.
And then She's All That. Great. It is very much a relic of the time, of course. Who is the lead? Yeah, I didn't do a ton of research, and I had a long day. So
Freddie Prinze Jr.'s in it, right?
Freddie Prinze Jr. is the male lead, yes, but the female lead is I think she's great. She's fantastic. She was just in a Netflix rom-com Christmas movie last year.
Susie All That.
Susie All That. Yes, I believe Miss All That was fantastic in it. No, I can't remember her name right now, but she is great, super charming in the movie. She looks about 12. You can't believe she's in high school, but she does a great job.
All right.
Rachel Lee Cook. Thank you so much. And then Matthew Lillard is in that too, and I just can't say enough about that guy. Matthew Lillard.
Who are you thanking?
Thanking? I was thanking myself.
Oh, okay.
for wising up and remembering people's names.
Okay, all right. Matthew Lillard. Oh yeah, good. Yeah.
Yeah,
classic.
And I'm coming off of our Scream conversation last month. I mean, he popped up just in his post-Scream phase, playing another complete D-bag, and he's hilarious. I just loved him in it.
Good.
And then if I may just kind of round out the rom-com viewing for the month.
Yeah.
the one new one that we watched, I think we watched it on Hulu or Prime. I think it was Hulu. It's called Plus One. And it is about a couple of friends who decide to be each other's plus one at all the weddings they have because they're now in their late 20s, early 30s. And so everybody's getting married, and they just got out of relationships, and it is fantastic. It's a really good time. It's not one. It's, you know how like a lot of the rom-coms I like are like hyper goofy in the rom-com format. This one plays with the beats, but plays them realistically, and the thing in the way of their relationship isn't like a misunderstanding or whatever. It's like personal issues, you know?
Yeah.
Like the guy just has a commitment issue, and so that's the issue. And both leads of that were great. Jack Quaid was the dude, and I don't know the girl's name, but she was one of the creators of Pen 15. Susie Plus One. Susie Plus One, yeah.
Yeah, that was her name.
Miss Plus One was fantastic. And just super hilarious. And that also is one of the rare rom-coms, too, that's a hard R these days. So a lot of language and innuendos. Hard R.
Hard R. It's a pirate movie.
It's Die Hard 2. Hard R.
Die Harder.
Die Harder.
Okay, well, I have not seen. What was the first rom-com you mentioned?
Pretty Woman.
It's the only one I've seen. I think out of all those.
My Fair Lady, She's All That, and Plus One.
Yeah, I might seek him out. Is Plus One? Is that who's in that?
Jack Quaid, who is one of the leads of Scream 5. Dennis Quaid and Meg Ryan's son.
Oh, yeah. Is he in The Boys?
Yes, he is in The Boys.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've only seen like half an episode of The Boys, which I really enjoyed. But I don't know if I even saw him in it. But like, he's great. He's a great actor.
Great.
Yeah.
The Boys is great, and it'll make you feel terrible.
Yeah.
But it's real good. So I got a couple more workout movies. War of the Worlds. Speaking of rom-coms.
Yeah.
No. War of the Worlds and Game Night, which I had seen both of. War of the Worlds. I remember liking it more the first time I watched it.
I remember being let down by it because it was in that it was in like the Spielberg DreamWorks era, and he was like, just his vibe was a lot more kind of cynical and angry at that moment. And I liked that in Minority Report, but in War of the Worlds it kind of bummed me out.
I don't know. I for some reason I was totally into it throughout, but this time I was just kind of bored, even though I was also working out. So that's kind of hard to be like doing something and I'll also be bored.
That's rough.
But yeah, maybe because like that kind of thing is just that kind of movie. It feels really like, at the time it was already, it's been done many times, I'm sure, but it feels like it's done all the time now. Like all of the things that are supposed to be intense and scary, it was like, I feel nothing. I just feel nothing right now.
Yeah.
But it's pretty well done it's Spielberg. You know, he knows what he's doing a lot of the time.
Yeah, but we're just so used to watching like society collapse in movies now that it's like it's just not as fresh anymore, and it's been done on such a larger scale. Yeah. That's
another thing that I was feeling, was that like the society collapsing aspect of it was like, I mean, I kind of feel like we're going through it now, and it's different. It's just different.
It's just, this doesn't play as realistic anymore. Yeah. Now that we have better information.
Yeah, it doesn't. I'm desensitized by this. And then game night was great.
It's just the best. I actually tried to watch Game Night this month too, actually, but it wasn't streaming anywhere, and I didn't like. It was gonna be like a bedtime watch, so I didn't want to do a rental on it. I should just buy it, because that's a movie that I feel like watching ever so often.
Yeah. Jason Bateman, Jesse Plemons. Seeing the trailer for it and everything, it looked like kind of fun. I didn't expect to. I mean, I went to the premiere.
You went to the premiere. Yeah.
I did. I did go to the premiere.
I remember you sending me a picture of you and Ron Livingston.
Yeah, I don't think I would have even paid attention to the movie, but I was invited to the premiere because I was. It coincided with a brand deal that I did for a video. It wasn't because it was like, oh, let's invite Wheezy Waiter to the premiere of Game Night, but It was incredible.
Although,
it was surreal.
And thinking about it, like I never even really considered it before. It was just funny that you ended up at the premiere of Game Night. But if you were going to invite somebody who loved game nights to the premiere of Game Night, you'd be the perfect person.
I know. I think that's probably why I was associated with I don't remember what the brand was. I don't remember what I was advertising, but I think that's probably partially why. Because I think I had talked about board games at the time.
Oh yeah, you were one of the biggest board game people I know.
Yeah, and at the time I was playing a lot more. These days I don't see people. But the premiere was amazing, and I just didn't think I would care that much about the movie. I actually watched the movie before the premiere at like a pre-screening first, and I was like, wait a second, this is really good.
Yeah,
I'm really enjoying this movie.
Yeah.
It's just funny. It's just like well paced. Well, like you can't like expect like I'm gonna know what's gonna happen. The setup is like, oh, he's setting it up so the guy's brother is making them play a game, but is the game real or is it not real?
Yeah.
Like the movie The Game.
Yeah, it's like a comedy version of The Game.
Yeah, and I was like, oh, it's just going to be that. But it actually, like, that kind of goes to the wayside, and it's just a fun, like, kind of crime comedy.
Yeah, everybody's so funny in it. It's just, like, everything about it is great. And it's written and directed by the guys who wrote Spider-Man Home Sweet Home.
No Way Home or Far From Home?
No, the first one.
Homecoming,
yeah.
Yeah. Which is also on my list.
Is it?
Yes.
Did you do that on purpose because of Game Night?
No.
Wow,
I didn't realize.
You just intrinsically felt it, and
it's because I'm watching all the Marvel movies with my dad. So.
Oh, of course.
Yeah,
of course.
Yeah. I have a couple of Marvels on here, but do you have more? Should we throw it back to you?
Yeah. Jumping back and forth. Okay, so I am focusing mainly on the new movies, the newer movies that I've seen, because I did a bunch of rewatching this time too. Just briefly, actually, I rewatched, I know we already did a whole episode on this, but I rewatched Mission Impossible Ghost Protocol, and then I watched Mission Impossible Rogue Nation right after that. And Craig, I know what I've said, and I've said, and I've said, and what I've said is true, and I believe it in my heart, and everything I've said is true, and I stand by what I said. And Mission Impossible 3 is still my heart song favorite. Ghost Protocol is the most fun.
Fallout, but Ghost Protocol right behind it.
Ghost Protocol. Well, so I'm gonna rewatch Fallout too. But like Ghost Protocol, the fun factor between the gags and everything, and just kind of the light touch that it has with the comedy in the movie is the most fun I have with a Mission Impossible movie. And then Rogue Nation immediately, getting into the Chris McQuarrie of it all, like felt a little more like the less wacky James Bond kind of movies, you know?
Yeah.
Where it's a little bit more grounded. The sequences are great, but there's no wink to it. There's no smirk to it. It just played it really straight. And is Fallout super straight?
It's similar. I think it's it's more similar in feel to 5, to the other Chris McQuarrie, but it's better. I also feel like both of them do wink a little. They're not like completely serious.
I feel like Rogue Nation is like straight down the middle. I feel like it's a fastball, but it's straight down the middle. And
well, I mean, there's obviously silly parts like the car flipping up like ridiculously, and then they're like hanging upside down, and then
that doesn't seem super ridiculous to me. Like compared to like,
but there's a clear comedy beat there where Jeremy Renner comes over like, "Hey, how are you guys doing?" They're like starting to look at him.
Yeah, you know? It is a comedy beat, but it's a straight-faced comedy beat, and I feel like they're in the way that like they just can handle everything. Like in Ghost Protocol, you see Tom Cruise really hanging on by the skin of his teeth, and I love seeing a hero like out of his depth. And I love that at the end of, spoilers for Ghost Protocol, everybody, and I totally forgot this, but at the end when he drives that car off the thing to like crash it so he can get down to the briefcase in time, it's the greatest. And then he crawls over, and right before he hits the big red button, he goes, "Mission accomplished!"
Yeah, and then later they're like, "You said mission accomplished?"
It's so funny.
Yeah.
That is so funny.
I'm not saying Ghost Protocol is funnier or better than, Rogue Nation is better than Ghost Protocol. I think Ghost Protocol is much better than that one. But Fallout, to me, goes above. Because it's got funny moments, but the action is so good that it's like just...
All right, I'm going to revisit it because like these
Yeah.
other two are really fresh in my mind right now. And I mean, 1 and 3 are the ones I've seen the most throughout my entire life. So in the rewatch, the 4, 5, and 6 are the ones that I need to. So I'll watch Fallout in March and let you know what how it all shakes out in our next episode.
Okay. You should. Have you watched the making of Fallout?
No.
The behind the scenes stuff? Oh my god.
Yeah?
Mind blowing.
Good stuff.
So good. Yeah.
All right, I'll check that out.
All right. I mean, I don't watch Mission Impossible. I don't like those movies. Anyway, let's move on. There's a couple movies that are new that I should probably focus on. So let's blaze through the other ones.
All right.
I watched the Marvel movies: Spider-Man: Homecoming, Thor: Ragnarok, and we skipped the second Spider-Man, and we watched the new Spider-Man because I wanted to go to the movie theater. So we went. So we saw that before. My dad hadn't even seen the second one yet, so he hadn't caught up yet. But we watched the new one. So I guess that is one of the new movies that I saw. But Spider-Man: Homecoming, super good, super funny, super fast-paced.
Yeah.
Rewatch, I think I enjoyed it even more.
Still not one of my favorites, but I mean, we did a whole episode on it. I've said
Yeah.
my piece on that.
Yeah.
But I really liked Far From Home. I mean, that's one of the ones we saw in the theater together.
Yeah, I liked the sequel.
And it was a lot
good.
of fun. And I love Jake Gyllenhaal, so that was great for me. So what do you think of the new one? I haven't seen it. I probably won't see it until it comes to streaming, but like...
Great. I think, well, okay. I'm not going to spoil it, but
well, sure.
the central thing that incites everything, the
multiverse thing.
Well, no, the actual why that comes to be. Like,
oh, okay.
The stuff that Peter Parker does or other people do to make that happen.
Yeah.
Like to make the whole concept happen.
Yeah.
It's really silly. Like I feel like it's like that kind of bothered me a little bit. Like it's like really all this for that. Like, but once you get past that first half of the movie.
Yeah.
There's a lot of good things in the first half of the movie, but once you get past the silliness, and then the second half of the movie becomes like really emotional, like really like in ways that it hit me harder than I expected.
Cool.
And I liked it. I liked it a lot. Thor Ragnarok is
yeah, chef's kiss always.
The
movie's
Thor
great.
Ragnarok is, I mean, rewatching it was even better. Like it bumped it up even more in my repertoire. I also saw Infinity War, but that was for we argued about that on MOVIED.
Oh yeah,
and that
plenty.
That was in March. I watched that in March. So
Our most listened to episode.
And I have thoughts about it, but that should be for March. Do you have more?
Okay, so yeah, I'm gonna move into the new movies now.
Okay.
So one that I didn't see in the theaters, waited until VOD, and finally caught up with this month was Ghostbusters Afterlife. Mm-hmm. Did you see that one?
Nope.
Okay. More or less, I enjoyed it. With all of the requels and legacy sequels, it's like everybody has these hot takes for days. Hot takes coming in, you know, like get yourself some oven mitts because the takes are coming.
I've always been kind of sick of just the anger against sequels and reboots. Like I don't.
Yeah.
If it's good, it's good.
Yeah, I agree. And but like the problem is like people are chasing a feeling, and if the movie does too many of the old beats to get you that feeling, it feels old. And if it does too many new beats, you're like, it doesn't feel like the old thing. So it's a losing game no matter what, except it still makes money. So like they're gonna do this because this is what gets people to the theaters. I mean, that's just where we're gonna be. I thought it was good. It was an Amblin Ghostbusters movie centered around the kids. You know, all the kids did a great job. The adults, Paul Rudd and Carrie Coon. Paul Rudd is like their science teacher, and Carrie Coon is the mother of the kids. And they are hilarious. Like, they have a bunch of, like, just adult conversations, and they're really wry. And, I mean, it's Paul Rudd doing his thing in a really great way.
Great. I don't understand why you don't like Ant-Man, but yeah, great.
Yeah, so I don't either, Craig. I mean, it's gonna be a mystery forever.
Actually, that should be on my list. I think we watched Ant-Man too. Okay, anyway.
I'll rewatch it at some point when it's like when I'm just watching it for the Paul Rudd of it, and I'm sure I'll enjoy the hell out of it. I think it just came out after a time where I was less interested in all the superhero movies, you know?
Yeah.
At any rate, it doesn't matter. I really enjoyed Ghostbusters Afterlife. I think the first 3/4 is just a really fun, like, beautifully shot fun time. And hearing a proton pack fire up is always going to fire me up. Like that sound is it just connects directly to like the center of my chest pleasure center. It's like a tuning fork in my heart. Yeah. And watching the Ecto-1 like plow through cornfields and stuff, it's just fun. It's just a fun movie. Ghostbusters Afterlife, good times.
How did you feel about the other new Ghostbusters movie?
Oh, Lady Ghostbusters?
Lady Ghostbusters.
I liked it.
Is that what it's called?
Yeah, I've actually seen it like 3 times.
Oh, wow.
I saw it in the theater. I liked it. It was funny. I enjoy their brand of humor, you know? There was some softballs, like old comedy bits that didn't really connect, but I like Kristen Wiig a lot. I loved Melissa McCarthy. I just enjoyed their kind of banter, and I thought the ghosts and all the ghost effects were really cool in that one.
I don't think I've seen all of it. I caught the middle of it, and I don't know, it was hard for me to get into.
Sure.
It seemed like it was intentional, but it was a lot of like improv. It was a lot of turn the camera on and let him talk for a while.
Yeah, it was definitely made in the Apatow model. That kind of Paul Feig was the director. So I mean,
I like what he does usually, but that to me felt like they indulged in the improv
Well, you might have also mostly what you find now is the extended cut of that movie, just because it was like another way to sell it when nobody saw it in the theater or when it didn't perform the way they wanted it to in the theater. So the extended cut does feel long. It's not paced correctly.
Maybe that's what I was watching.
And they keep too much in. But people also just hated that movie. But like one of the things that's interesting about Ghostbusters and trying to do like an action comedy Ghostbusters, which is what Lady Ghostbusters was. When you are building to the end and you're having like these big like action set pieces, the Ghostbusters tech isn't about action. Like you have to hold a thing, throw a thing, and like get it sucked into the trap. It's like one action beat. And like when a whole city is full of ghosts, they had a whole bunch of new ghost toys to kind of like build action around. And some of those set pieces, like there's one where, who's the hilarious, Kate McKinnon. So Kate McKinnon plays like the wackiest Egon you've ever seen in that movie. And I think she's hilarious. And she has one thing where she's like, oh yeah, I forgot about my new toys. And she has these little like handgun, like proton packs hooked up to her that are hooked to wires or whatever. And she's like, let's go. And she like starts like whipping ghosts with them. So it is actiony, and it's the best music cue in the entire, like if you just YouTube that moment, like Kate McKinnon action sequence and watch that, because when the music kicks in, it just feels so right. But it is creating an action set piece where it doesn't really work, because what she's doing to the ghosts isn't going to defeat them. It just looks cool for a minute, you know?
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense. Yeah.
They were having a good time.
But I like all the Ghostbusters movies. I mean, they're fine.
Yeah.
And Ghostbusters was huge for me as a kid. I mean,
oh yeah, I loved Ghostbusters. And I know a lot of people don't like Ghostbusters 2, but I liked Ghostbusters 2.
Yeah, that painting was creepy.
Yeah. Yeah, I got Kimmy.
Oh, you watched Kimmy. Okay, how was it?
Great.
Yeah.
Soderbergh.
I know, Craig. I know. And Kimmy, after you set me straight on the Soderbergh path with what was it? No Sudden Move. Like after you showed me the way, I was like, oh, Kimmy's out. I'm gonna go watch Kimmy. And then I was like, oh yeah, I canceled HBO Max. Like we're doing that thing where we have certain streamers at certain times. So as soon as I get HBO Max back, Kimmy's on my list.
Well, I will. Okay, so it's a slow burn the first half.
I do not care.
It's basically a modern Soderbergh take on Rear Window.
Yes, please.
Starring
Zoe Kravitz.
Zoe Kravitz, yeah. But when it kicks in, like I feel like it's a movie that you have that some people you're gonna have to be patient, and it'll be worth it. Like you gotta sit through some stuff for a while, but there's a big payoff in the last act. It's like everything just is like, oh yeah, oh wow, this is crazy. I mean, and it's Soderbergh, and I love everything he does, even the things people don't like.
But I feel also like you say, it's like a slow burn in the first half, and I feel like people are using the word slow burn for something that doesn't have like crazy action heavy or like immediate plot momentum, where like as long as a director knows how to handle pacing, like slow burn doesn't bother me at all, and I have total faith in Soderbergh. Yeah,
I mean, but there are a lot of people who may come across this movie are not Soderbergh files,
Yeah,
No,
but
they're
like,
not-
if,
yeah.
as long as he's like telling the story at an appropriate clip, which he
Yeah.
does usually.
Yeah.
Then
Yeah.
I mean, like Bubble. Did you ever see Bubble?
Yeah.
He shot that movie on mini DV, and it's. I mean, like if you're gonna call something
Yeah.
slow burn, Bubble would be slow burn. But like,
Yeah.
he knows how to tell that story. I was involved the whole time.
Yeah, I enjoy it, but it's not. I recognize that it's probably not gonna seem like it's for everybody at first. But if you're patient, it's for everybody. Yeah.
Not everything has to be for everybody, and nothing's for
I know.
everybody.
I know.
Like, and this is another thing too that's just been
I'm-
bugging me about like our culture is we like have to like crouch our takes and like shroud them in like, oh, now everybody listen, I'm not saying it's the best thing for everybody in the whole world, but for a certain subsect of people this could be really good. Like, like it's not a perfect film. It's like, fuck you, nothing's a perfect film.
Yeah. I don't know, though, Jake. I feel like you and I are guilty of the things we're annoyed by as well.
Guilty of being annoyed by things.
No, we're guilty of doing what we're annoyed by.
Oh, sure. oh, in this oh yeah, no. I got pulled into the whole thing too, where I felt like I had to like approach everything with like, now everybody calm down. I'm not saying it's the best, but like I felt like I had to do that for a long time, and I'm just done with it. Now I'm just gonna be like, I really loved this thing. Like, and it's goofy, and I loved it. And like, so that's what my top 10 list was about. Like, Shadow in the Cloud is a goofy movie, but I loved it. I had a great time. Sorry. I stumbled upon a soapbox there. I'm just gonna kick that out of the way here.
That's okay. You got a movie for me?
Yes, sir. Eliza and I watched French Dispatch, the new Wes Anderson movie.
Yeah.
Did you watch it?
Nope.
Okay, so like when it came out of the festivals and then into the theaters, like there wasn't like a big groundswell toward it. So I figured it was like, okay, so we hit Grand Budapest, which I think is a friggin' masterpiece. It's a delight. That movie front to back is a delight to behold. So I was like, okay, so he crested at Grand Budapest, and now they're still going to be good to watch, but like I don't have to rush to see them, Mm-hmm. And I loved French Dispatch.
Okay.
I had such a good time. It is, do you know anything about it?
Is it partially black and white and there are a million people in it?
Yeah. So like, I don't know what is designating his black and white and color usage or his frame. Yeah. Some of it's 4:3, some of it's, 16:9, some of it's like the aspect ratios and the color versus black and white is all over the place. So it's almost like when Oliver Stone entered his like U-turn Natural Born Killers phase. But like the storytelling is still super dry Wes Anderson humor. Yeah. The visuals are of course just gorgeous, and I just think it's really funny. It's an anthology movie, so it's like the French Dispatch is a subsection of a newspaper out of Kansas or Iowa, one of those. It doesn't matter, but like they're working out of France, out of this small like town. Everybody covers a different kind of beat. They have a different kind of vibe, and it's all super bougie, high culture, kind of like pretentious, but like also poking fun at itself at the same time. And like Francis
sounds like Wes Anderson.
Yeah. So like Francis McDormand's like, so it's an anthology film where you go into like, this article is like a short movie. This article's a short movie. This article's a short movie. So it's like 4 or 5 shorts. Great cast, very entertaining. The one about Benicio del Toro as an artist who's a murderer in prison is my absolute favorite. It's so funny. I just had a great time with it, and I highly recommend it. So if we're considering Grand Budapest to be the Grand Budapest, then
which I haven't seen all of it. I watched it on a plane once, and I fell asleep because it was in the middle of the night.
Sure.
But I was enjoying it.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
I mean, and I've been a Wes Anderson fan since Rushmore. I've like, and then I went back to Bottle Rocket and thought like that's fun to see where he comes from. But like watching that progression, Tenenbaums was huge for me for forever. And then only once he got to Grand Budapest, I was like, oh, this is the final evolution. This is what he had. This is
why
what
do you think it's the end? Why did you think that?
Well, no, I mean it's just like it's everything he had hinted at or played with before was in its best form so far. And I'm not saying that it was the end.
I wasn't that big on Steve Zissou.
Life
one?
Aquatic wasn't for me either, dude.
Life Aquatic, yeah.
Yeah.
I only mildly liked Royal Tenenbaums. I love Rushmore. Love Rushmore. And I loved Bottle Rocket, too.
Tenenbaums, I thought, was like just so perfect. Now, I know I keep doing this. I'm trying not to, I'll try not to use the word perfect anymore. But like Tenenbaums like had so much like wistful regret. Like it was soaked in this like kind of like run down sorrow and but whimsy at the same time. And it just like spoke to, you know, my early 20s perfectly.
Yeah.
And then Grand Budapest, I think you should watch the whole thing.
I know, I've always been meaning to.
And then French Dispatch as well. Like, I really, really, really recommend
What's
French
the name of the Boy Scouts one?
Moonrise Kingdom.
Yeah, I liked that. I liked it.
I liked it too. Like, it is super bizarre, but, and like, pretty uncomfortable in certain parts. Yeah. But
that was one where I felt kind of similar to Kimmy, where I was like, no, not similar. It was a little, because with Kimmy I was into it the whole time. With Moonrise I was like, I'm not sure if I like this for a little while.
Yeah,
but then once it gets towards the end, I'm like, oh, I'm feeling things now. I'm feeling it. I get it. Yeah.
French Dispatch is one of those like Grand Budapest too. Like his later stuff keeps you at arm's distance. Like you're not. Yeah. There are parts that can pull you in and emotionally involve you, and all the actors are great, so that helps like get you emotionally involved. But like the fakery of the environments is so pop-up book and in your face at this point. Yeah. So you're watching it through that haze of like beautiful fantasy. These movies are straight up now like Instagram movies, you know?
Yeah. It's very much about the aesthetic.
Oh yeah. And in this case, because he also cares about like making interesting characters, it works for me. Like people who are about aesthetic and not as much about character, like Kubrick, that's when I start to like fall asleep.
Oh yeah. Let's move on.
All right.
I got one more. Cyrano. I watched it in the theater.
Oh, how was it?
I went and watched a second movie, and I hadn't seen movies in the theater in forever.
Just because sounds great, dude.
It looked kind of good on the trailer, and it was like the best thing playing. So I went and saw it. I'm a little disappointed.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I love the Cyrano story. You're saying it's not as good as Steve Martin's Roxanne?
No. I love the Cyrano story too. That's partially what intrigued me. And Peter Dinklage is great.
Yeah,
and he's great in it, of course. It's the guy who did Atonement.
Yeah, Joe Wright.
Joe Wright. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, so Liza and I are definitely going to watch it because we love Cyrano stories. I mean, our Christmas rom-com that we wrote is a Cyrano story. Secret Santa Cinderella is a straight-up Cyrano meets Cinderella story. One of the issues was the music. Oh.
It's a musical.
Oh, I did not know that. And now I am immediately less interested.
Once the singing started, I'm like, oh yeah, that's right. This is a musical. And then I'm like, okay, when's this song over? Okay, can we move on? And the songs mostly were not interesting. They weren't very special in any way. It's just sort of like, okay, we got a song, let's move on. Performances were good, but it was kind of oddly paced, oddly toned at times. And the ending, I'm not going to spoil anything, but like it's really sudden. It's like comically sudden. It's like, oh wait, that's it? We're done? Okay. It was okay. It was fine.
All right.
It was fine.
All right. Still a little disappointing to hear. I know we're going to end up watching it, and I will weigh in when it hits VOD, you know?
Yeah. If you say you love it, I would be like, it's fine. It's pretty good.
All right. 2 more movies that I watched before we get to our 6 questions of the day. Because it landed on Hulu, because of its very disappointing theatrical performance, me and Liz and Jill, our friend Jill, sat down on this here couch and watched all 2.5 hours of Nightmare Alley.
Oh.
It is dark, dude. It is dark. And I really had a good time with it. Like, it is beautiful, of course. Guillermo's movies are beautiful. Cast, fantastic. Bradley Cooper does a great job. Cate Blanchett is incredible. Rooney Mara, fantastic.
I will tell you, I watched maybe 45 minutes of it while working out. So.
Okay, what'd you think?
I was enjoying it kind of, but I really felt like I wasn't paying enough attention to it. So it takes its time, and at a certain point, it leaves the circus. I thought we were going to be at the circus the whole time. Yeah. You know, did you leave the circus? No.
Okay.
didn't.
So, like, I'm super intrigued by the idea of this guy learning how to be, like, a mentalist, you know? Like, I love all the tricks of the trade stuff that we learn and, like, seeing through behind the curtain of the entertainers of the circus. I love all of those characters. I think they're super interesting. And then when we leave and kind of get into the second half of the movie, that's when shit gets dark, dude. And it gets really dark, really heavy, and... oh boy, it gets rough. And at the end of it, we all kind of sat there in silence as the credits were rolling and just like, ugh, gut punch, man. Like, it's just a rough flick. But
dear.
I still recommend it. I think Guillermo's just so talented, and it's a beautiful looking movie. And
He's got a future.
It reminded me of, because another one that just bombed at the theater, but found a pretty good life on Netflix. It keeps showing up on the top 10 every once in a while, is Crimson Peak. Did you watch that one?
No.
Liza and I love it because it's like a real dark gothic romance kind of ghost story. You know me, I'm not as interested in movies that are kind of period pieces, but this one's so gorgeous that it's got me. And I love a good ghost story. So another thumbs up from me. Really liked it.
Okay.
Then my final one is something that blew up kind of all the timelines I have on social media. And it was just debated, and people loved it, people hated it, a lot of people hated it, and it is Texas Chainsaw Massacre on Netflix.
The new one.
The new one on Netflix. Yeah.
Yes.
I presume you did not check that out.
I did not, but I have seen all of the other ones. Well, at least
most of them.
Some of them only partially, but yes. You made me watch them. Yeah.
I made you.
Yeah.
This is my third favorite Texas Chainsaw movie.
Wow.
Yeah. And there are 9.
Behind the original and the remake?
So my first favorite is probably the remake, then the original, and
Okay.
now Texas Chainsaw Massacre on Netflix. Or as I call it, the Netflix Chainsaw Massacre. This time, it's a group of kind of like influencers who are like in the cooking realm.
Updated for modern times.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what these should do. That's what these like requels and remakes and sequels and legacy sequels should be doing. And this time, they're traveling to like an abandoned Texas town from Austin, and they are like kind of making it a scene. They like announced on social media they've bought a whole bunch of this town. Come, everybody, with your bespoke hipster like shop ideas, and come buy a shop in our town and some place to live, and we're gonna be like this town, you know? And of course,
like Marfa, Texas, sort of, which is middle of nowhere artist community.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So like it's that kind of thing, and I don't know anything about that. But like then they get there, of course, and there's 2 people left in town. One of them is a mechanic who has stayed behind to kind of like fix stuff up for them as they pay. You know, he's kind of a hired hand, but he also is the flip side of the coin, because they see him at a gas station accidentally on their way into town, and he's got a gun, a licensed firearm on his hip, and somebody like one of their influencers is like, how small does this guy's dick have to be? He's got to walk around with a gun, and you know, like they're really trying to set up the 2 sides of the coin, which is what Texas Chainsaw was always about. Like you had the van full of hippies going to the wrong house, you know, like the exact flip side of the coin. So they were setting this up perfectly to be kind of the new version of that. And then of course they go to this one house, there's an old lady there, and this guy that you don't see, that she's like, don't come downstairs, and she kind of has to get rushed off to the hospital. And
I don't want to hear more. I don't want to hear any more.
Okay. It is brutal. It is so gory. It's gloriously gory. It's glorious.
I might be interested in it, actually.
Yeah. I mean, and it is exactly what a Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie should be to me.
You forced me to be invested in Texas Chainsaw Massacre, so...
But so many people on the streams, the people who hate it, like, are talking about how much they hate these people moving in, these influencers. And... like, they just hate them. I can't wait to see them die, whatever, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, that's fine. I mean, but it's a group of kids that I've liked more than most in the Texas Chainsaw franchise. Yeah. You know? They mean well.
I hate influencers. I hate them.
Yeah, obviously. They're not, like, all on the up and up. They aren't the best of people, you know? Like, they make mistakes. But I think people are just reacting to the anti-gun of them in the beginning, and the fact that they're trying to like gentrify this old Texas town that's not being used for anything anymore.
It's a certain type of people who hate this movie.
I'm not sure, but like that's what the vibe feels like off of these. One of the characters is the sister of one of the influencers, and she's this girl who survived a school shooting. So like she has to like kind of find it within herself to make it through a new horrible event, you know?
Yeah.
And I think it's really interesting. And I thought, and of course, gloriously gory. And so there, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, another thumbs up from Jake for people who enjoy really gory times at the movies.
Yeah. I forgot one, which was Sleepless in Seattle, which I saw with China for Valentine's Day, which we already put on our podcast.
Great movie.
Because it's we're watching every Tom Hanks movie, but we're doing it very slowly. We've only watched 2 so far.
My favorite Nora Ephron, Sleepless in Seattle.
It's good. I think I like You Got Mail better. There, I said it.
No,
there,
I know. And hey, it's a fair point. It's a fair stance. No problems there.
But I did enjoy it. It's very good. Well, did you see our talk about it? Our podcast about it?
No, I haven't caught that podcast yet.
Well,
it's been
I don't want to
time over at the old Jeremy
redux
household.
the whole conversation. But one contentious issue was the Bill Pullman character. Like, oh yeah, you just got allergies, and he, like, what's so bad about that? I get that she's bored with him. I get all that, but like, they play up that he's just like got these health problems, and that's part of the problem.
Yeah, he's just kind of a normal schlubby guy. He's not. He's just a normal dude.
And we talked about how, which this doesn't necessarily bother me, but Nora Ephron loves the cordial breakup. She loves the like, and You Got Mail, and in that. Well, in You Got Mail, it's even more cordial. It's like, this just isn't working, right? Yeah, totally. I'm so glad we're breaking up, both people, which was just kind of funny. In this, it was like Bill Pullman's like, oh, okay, I was giving you my grandmother's ring, and okay, yeah, I get it, yeah. He was just like kind of okay with it, but I guess that's kind of within his character. Anyway,
well, so the funny thing too is like I heard that Kinnear in You've Got Mail was written in a similar kind of scene, but like he asked that when that scene arrived, he also state like, I deserve more than someone who's not that into me. Like he had to say like, I still like you, but like, it's not worth it if you're not as into me. Like he had to say the thing instead of just letting her off the hook.
Yeah, right.
I mean, it's still easy as breakup scenes go, but it's like a little, he at least gets the other point of view in.
It's kind of refreshing because you expect like a horrible scene. It's like, I don't feel terrible. Even though that's not real, but I don't feel terrible. That's fine.
For sure.
Anyway, are we moving on to questions now?
Yeah, let's do the 6 questions, man.
Okay. Top 5 rom-coms.
Hit me.
This was tough because I always look it up because I have to get them all in my head, what they are.
Of course.
And look up the best ones and stuff. And some of them were borderline, are these actually rom-coms? But I've decided that these are most of these are obviously rom-coms. But The Big Sick.
Yep.
Love it. Palm Springs.
It's on my list, bro. I wasn't sure if it was going to qualify as a rom-com, but it is.
Yes.
Because the relationship is central.
Yes. Crazy Rich Asians.
Love it. Great movie.
The Princess Bride.
Oh, I didn't even think of that one. That's a great one.
Possibly was borderline for me.
Oh, but that's a rom-com.
Okay.
But it's also, I mean, it's more fable oriented, but I would, it's a highly romantic movie.
Yeah. All right. This is a movie I love. I haven't seen it in a while, but back in the day, I watched it many times and would recommend it to many people. As Good as It Gets.
Great movie.
Yeah.
I love it. And hilarious.
Another Greg Kinnear movie. Yeah.
Yep. And James L. Brooks. And it's got plenty of drum to go with that calm.
Sure does. It can be a little rough.
And it's still quite rom.
Of course.
So I'm going to cross off.
I'm sorry, just a second. There's a quote from As Good as It Gets that I have to get out there.
Yeah.
Good times, noodle salad. That's what he said.
So. Let me. I got a As Good as It Gets quote right here in the old noggin too, and it goes like this. It's just a little throw up.
Once in a while, I'll say to China, "You make me want to be a better man."
Yeah.
That's another one.
And every once in a while, I'll say to China, I think of a man, and then I take away reason and accountability.
And then sometimes I'll say, people who talk in metaphors should shampoo my crotch.
Okay. So I had a couple runners up, so I'm just crossing Palm Springs off my list to make us an even 10. And moving one up into the 5 slot. These are not in any particular order, but these are the ones I think of most often when I think of rom-coms I love. 27 Dresses.
Never seen it.
Katherine Heigl movie where she's always the bridesmaid, never the bride. And
Yeah.
she and James Marsden have electric chemistry.
Spike?
Oh, no, that's James Marsters. James Marsden is Cyclops in X-Men.
Oh, okay. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Always the guy who gets left. And this time he's the guy who gets got.
Oh, all right.
27 Dresses is a delight. And I really like Katherine Heigl, despite whatever problems she's had. And then, of course, we've already talked about it plenty of times. 10 Things I Hate About You. Got to be on there. I love and have rewatched that movie endlessly. Another tenor, How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days. For some reason, that movie
Matthew
is
McConaughey.
locked in my head as one of my favorite rom-coms. I've seen it so many times. Kate Hudson is endlessly charming in that movie. And her and McConaughey have it. Like, together they have that. They have that thing. There's a scene where, like, it's one of those ones that you hate, where like it's all built on a misunderstanding. Like they're both trying to trick the other person into like doing something, and then as they go along, there's a moment where kind of the veil drops for a second, and there's a look that they give each other, and it's rom-com magic, Craig.
All right.
It's sizzling. Okay. And then Notting Hill.
Yeah.
I love Notting Hill.
That's good.
I love Richard Curtis movies. Four Weddings was awesome.
Yeah.
But Notting Hill is still kind of the peak of Curtis for me.
It's nodding still. Yeah.
Nodding still.
Yeah.
Be nodding still my heart. And then finally, French Kiss. Meg Ryan, Kevin Kline.
I don't know if I've seen that or not. I may have seen parts of that.
Her fiance goes to Paris, and then he gets a call, and he's like, "I've fallen in love. I found a goddess." And like she has to get on a plane. She's terrified of flying. She gets on a plane and is seated next to Kevin Kline, a obnoxious, rude Frenchman. And they get kind of stuck together when they get into Paris eventually. And it's just so charming. She's great as Kate. And it's one of the most quoted movies in this house, and the house I grew up in as well. It's just one of those ones that has stayed in rotation throughout the years. French Kiss, thumbs up.
All right.
Question number 2. Nightmare Alley is one of the rare theatrical films that was released in color, but there is also a theatrical black and white cut going around right now. It's currently at the Music Box. It's called Nightmare Alley: Vision in Darkness and Light. There are 3 other modern movies that have renowned black and white cuts that followed their color cuts. Can you name one of them? Re-released in black and white, 2 of them theatrically, 1 on a special edition DVD.
I don't even know. I'm unaware of this, so it'd have to be a guess.
Okay.
And my guess would... Can I have another hint of some kind?
Okay, one of these was one of your favorite movies that you and I saw together in the theater, and then after it was nominated for Best Picture, the black and white version that the director always wanted to see did a limited theatrical run.
It was one... We saw it together in the theater?
Together we saw it in the theater. We posted an Instagram about seeing it in the theater together.
We did.
Yes. Because we were both making hilarious faces.
Huh. We saw it in the theater, and it was a Best Picture nominee.
It's once they expanded the nominations to 10 so that they could get some of the popular films in.
I can't. Oh man, I can't.
I'm going to give you I'm just going to put it out there. I'm going to give you the most obvious hint in the world.
Yeah.
Witness me.
Still that doesn't even witness me.
Oh, people are screaming at you in their cars right now, Craig. In their cars that they're driving furiously on the road.
Witness me. Witness me. I can't get it.
Mad Max Fury Road, sir.
Mad Max Fury Road.
It was called Mad Max Fury Road Black and Chrome Edition.
Okay, I think I did hear about that actually.
The other two is a movie called Logan, released as Logan Noir
Yeah.
in black and white. And then the final one, the first one that I recall seeing in the modern era that did this, was the one that released it onto DVD. It was The Mist. Frank Darabont's The Mist.
Yes.
And I watched that black and white version, and I gotta tell you, dude, it changes everything.
Wow.
Like, it turns that movie into a Twilight Zone episode and makes it 1,000% more enjoyable.
Ooh, okay. Well, now I gotta watch all of those. I don't even remember "Witness Me," the line.
It's
in that
it's
movie.
what they all scream when they are about to commit, like,
Oh yeah.
Harry
okay.
Carey, witness.
Okay.
And then when like it fails, they're like mediocre.
yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Next question.
Which Avenger would you rather be? Since I'm watching a lot of Marvel movies these days.
Out of all of them,
Yes.
I mean, we all know I'm a pretty basic bitch here, Craig. I would want to be Iron Man. It's sweet, so cool.
Damn it! I think that's my answer too.
I want the Iron Man suit. I just want the Iron Man suit.
Yeah, like the most advanced Iron Man suit, the one in the Endgame, in Infinity War and Endgame. It just seems so cool because you can still be a normal human being. You just can fly around and have a suit that does whatever.
Absolutely.
And that just sounds fun. I don't want to be the Hulk. That would just
Oh God,
be
no. That's a nightmare.
inconvenient.
That's a nightmare.
Yeah, I don't want to be Captain America because it's too patriotic, you know?
And these are like not part of the core team, but like once you get into Avengers Endgame, like everybody's an Avenger. And then if we're taking that, if I'm not Iron Man and I'm not Spider-Man, then I'll be Scarlet Witch because she's pretty badass too.
Yeah, I don't want to be Thor because then I would have to be like
Boring.
the heir to the throne. Well, I mean, he's
until
not-
you get to Ragnarok. In Ragnarok, he's hilarious.
Yeah, but then I feel like he's got like a lot of baggage. Like he's got a brother that's evil.
Yeah,
and
he's got a lot of heavy stuff going on.
Yeah, but with Iron Man, you can still do whatever you want and just have an awesome suit.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Perfect.
All right.
In consideration of French Dispatch, what would be your favorite anthology movie? A feature film made up of many short films.
Yeah, when you texted me that question, my first reaction was, what's an anthology movie? and then I Googled it, and I looked up some lists of them, and I've narrowed it down to two, I think, and one of them I'm not sure is an anthology movie, but it was like number one on this list that I found is Pulp Fiction.
Oh, okay. I would
Yeah.
call that an anthology movie. Yeah.
All right,
For
well,
sure.
if that's
because
true, then
yeah.
definitely that.
Yeah, no, that's a good call. That wasn't on the list that I looked up. But they had a different definition. So I have a different answer, but Pulp Fiction probably is the right answer for me as well.
Yeah, but it's kind of cheating because I feel like it works together as one whole story too, really well.
Right.
But,
and like a lot of
Yeah.
anthology movies just kind of loop them together at the beginning and the end, like under a
Yeah.
banner or something. But like, I would consider that based on how much focus each of the stories has, I would still
true.
call Pulp Fiction an anthology movie.
Interesting. My other one was going to be Ballad of Buster Scruggs.
Sure. That movie that's a dark movie too. Speaking
Yes.
of dark movies.
Yes, and I don't love all of it, but I love more of it than all the other anthology movies I can think of. So
Okay, so you've opened my eyes to Pulp Fiction, but my answer before that was the one that I watched the most was Sin City.
yes.
I watched Sin City a bunch, and I thought it was so cool at the time.
Yeah.
I haven't watched it since, but the DVD has a audience reaction track instead of like a commentary track, so you can watch it with a live audience.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna do that pretty soon. It's been on my mind, so it probably stands high as my favorite anthology movie. Just a couple of quick shout outs.
Yeah.
Growing up, my favorite was Jim Jarmusch's Mystery Train.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
That movie.
I've never seen it, but I'm aware of it. Yeah.
It's straight up classic Jarmusch. People walking around Memphis,
Yeah.
and it's like 3 or 4 stories, and I mean it's just hyper cool. Or it was that Jarmusch kind of like nothing's happening, cool.
Nothing's
you know?
happening. Cool. Yeah.
Yeah, and then since most anthologies, or like a wide margin of anthologies, are in the horror genre, since they're so easy to make,
I was expecting yours to be a horror anthology.
I would say my favorite horror anthology for those who are interested in checking it out at some point is Trick or Treat, Mike Doherty's horror anthology from the early aughts. And he's the guy who went on to do Krampus and Godzilla, the King of Monsters movie. So he's a
Okay.
great director, and that is a very stylish horror Halloween anthology.
Okay. My question. Since I watched War of the Worlds, and I just watched today, or started like most of E.T., I'm trying to get my daughter into E.T.
Sure.
And but she watched it the way she watches every movie for the first time. Kinda didn't. But then like often what happens is like days will pass and she'll be like, can we watch that one movie? And she'll try to describe it again, and then she'll actually watch it.
Yeah.
But she was kind of into it for a while. But I can't talk about E.T. because I'm going to have to talk about that for March. Anyway, so can we, because they're both Spielberg movies, can we react, and this happens in E.T., can we just react to an alien spaceship taking off?
You're talking about the awe of seeing something off camera.
Yes, and we're going to watch a spaceship flying away.
Okay.
But like we did this as an outtake for Pops. When
We
were
did.
shooting Platoon Power Squadron. I want to do it again, but since this is a podcast, I want to do it twice. I want to do it for the video audience and for the audio audience.
Okay, I'm going to pull up the light on my phone so I can...
Oh yeah, good idea. Ready?
Yeah.
Okay. Now we got to do the audio version of that. First, we're walking through the woods and we're talking about, yep, my day at work today
Oh,
kind
yeah.
of dragged because like we ran out of coffee early. Like
Gotta
someone
punch
was
that
really
clock,
trying-
man. I mean, you gotta
Wait.
punch that clock, and we're...
Hey, look over there. What is that? You see that?
That light?
That's an alien spaceship.
Oh, my God. Oh,
I think it. I
Well,
mean, is it a spaceship?
It's going too high to be anything else, man. What...
Oh,
Are we...
Watch
Are
it
we,
go.
are we supposed to call somebody?
I don't. What do you? Get your phone. Get your phone.
There's no signal. There's no...
Ah, no. You can still record a video.
There's like an EMP pulse or something, man. It's like completely blacked out my phone.
Oh, we're too late.
Oh my God. No one's gonna believe this, Craig.
That was a good time.
My final question, since I enjoyed it so much last time, we are diving back into taglines with a segment I like to call Tagline Chainsaw Massacre.
Okay.
Okay?
All right.
There are 9 movies in the Texas Chainsaw Massacre franchise. So there are 9 taglines on 9 posters. There's a bunch of like subsidiary taglines, like ancillary taglines, but I just went with the ones on the posters that I recognized. So,
Okay.
9 taglines. I'm going to say 4 of them,
Yeah.
and you tell me which one was on the original 1974 Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Okay.
Number 1, evil wears many faces. Because he's Leatherface. He cuts
Right,
people's
right.
faces off.
Right,
Okay.
right.
Number 2, if looks could kill, he wouldn't need a chainsaw.
I don't think it's 1 or 2.
No? Okay. Number 3, who will survive and what will be left of them?
Okay.
And number 4, witness the birth of fear.
3.
Yep, you got it.
3. Yes.
I mean, it's the best one. It's the best one.
It's the best. It's also the least catchy. Like it feels like the least market tested one
Yeah.
of all of them.
Yep. So, Texas Chainsaw 1, who will survive and what will be left of them? Texas Chainsaw 2, after a decade of silence, the buzz is back. Texas Chainsaw 3, which is also called Leatherface, the Saw is family. Texas Chainsaw 4, Next Generation, if looks could kill, he wouldn't need a chainsaw. Texas Chainsaw 5, the remake, inspired by a true story. That's the only thing on the poster. Number 6 was Texas Chainsaw The Beginning, and that is Witness the Birth of Fear. 7 was Texas Chainsaw 3D, that's Evil Wears Many Faces. 8, which is just called Leatherface, which is the one where you're trying to figure out which of these kids turns out to be Leatherface when he grows up. That's the origin story of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Very boring tagline.
Yes.
And then Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the Netflix one, simply has The Face of Madness Returns.
Fun.
Although, the best alternate tagline was on Chainsaw 3D, Evil Wears Many Faces. The alternate one was just Buzz, period, kill, period. Buzzkill.
Yeah.
So good.
That is good. We've done it.
Yeah, we did it. That's another
good.
Movied.
I really have to go to the bathroom right now, so that's great.
That's how every one of our episodes ends.
Yeah, well, that's how every one of my moments end.
Yeah.
I have to go to the bathroom a lot.
We are getting up there, Craig. We are getting up there. Thank you so much for joining us on another episode of Movied Monthly, and any final... Oh!
Scene!
Movie! Do you want to give us another outro song?
Beast to the past, movie! Movie!